What's up, Glory Gang? Welcome back to another episode of the GloryBois podcast.
Let's go.
I'm Austin.
And I am Darren.
And today we have a very special guest.
Yeah,
Mr.
we do.
Andrew Finney. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Today we're going to be really unwrapping and unveiling something that we've been working on for quite a while, and it's coming to the world here in just a few short days. This episode will air on Friday, and really this whole thing kicks off on Sunday in just a couple days. So wanted to kind of share a little bit about what we've been working on and really promote it and send you guys in that direction for when it does launch on Sunday. But before we get into it, let's roll that intro.
I'm so excited.
What are you excited about?
We'll talk about it a little bit later, so you have to listen a little bit longer on the podcast. But before we dive into the secret unveiling of the secretness, Andrew, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wow. Just like that, huh?
Just like that.
Yeah. Born and raised Northwest Iowa. Played a lot of sports. Went to college at Iowa State for electrical engineering. Hated it. Moved to Omaha for a job and ran down a bad road. A lot of partying, a lot of girls. And then met the Lord in my basement with a 4-hour encounter.
Sick.
Woke up 4 hours later, face down on a concrete floor. And called into work the next day, went to parables about every book. That I emptied my bank out about every book, read them, went to church, never missed service, and just got wrecked by God. And 3 months after that, was in full-time ministry, youth, doing youth ministry. Went from that to leaving that to actually pastoring a church for a couple of years, and then traveling and going to different countries and being on planes constantly and finding my wife, getting married. Have a 2.5-year-old son, and then we started some businesses, and now we own businesses.
Yeah. So what you and your wife Roberta are amazing. What different business ventures are you currently kind of involved in?
Yeah. So we own in essence 3 companies. So one is we do a cleaning company, which is called Birdie's Cleaning. We do residential, commercial, and construction cleans. And then we have a window cleaning company, which is called Radiant Windows. So just normal construction commercial and residential window cleaning. And then our third one is I own a clothing brand. So started one in 2019 and took off, did really, really well for the first year. And then we've transitioned a little bit. So yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, I wonder what that transition could entail.
I have no idea.
Keep listening on the episode, and you'll find out.
Yeah, so I remember I met you not that long ago, actually.
Yeah.
It was was it at Amateur Coffee that I met you for the first time?
No,
here. You came here first.
Yeah. And
we sat down really just initially to talk about having you potentially help us print our merch for our company, Glory Visuals. And I think what was cool was like we'd never met, or at least you and I hadn't. Obviously, Darren shot your wedding way back.
Yeah,
and you guys.
I'm the reason why Glory Visuals is even a thing.
Right.
I was the OG numeral uno.
First client.
Yeah, his Glory Productions, actually.
Yeah.
That was HGP, baby.
You're welcome.
Right. But no, it was cool, like getting to sit down and get to know you a little bit. And honestly, the thing I remember about that encounter was like your encouragement, and just the whole time you were just like speaking life and really just vision into our company and foreseeing like the potential in us. I think that it's sometimes hard for us to see. So that really stood out to me when I first met you.
Yeah.
I love business, and I just think God in business and advancement and expansion is such a big deal. And a lot of small businesses, when they're in it, right, you're doing the day-to-day, paying the bills, making sure your employees are taken care of, making sure, the work's getting done, it's at a high quality. But a lot of people aren't looking at how do we advance? How do we expand? What's the next move, right? And that's just something I love to see, like just even in the church, like when I go preach, it's always talking about hearing God's voice for what's next, where are we going, what is God saying to you now, right? So like when I came in here and I sat down with you guys, it was like, man, I just saw you guys expanding. Like I kept telling you guys the same thing. It's like, I think you guys are bigger than what you guys think you are. Like, you guys are seeing what you guys are doing, but on the outside looking in, you guys are way bigger than what you think you are. And so that being said, I was like, you guys need to hire some people.
Yep.
Let's expand. I didn't know you guys were going to hire 2 more people, but
yeah, which we did pretty shortly after.
Yeah, we did.
Like super, like it was literally 7 days.
Yeah.
And you guys had another person hired. Yep. And I sent you guys a message and I was like, whoa, you guys really took that to heart, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Well, it was interesting because we'd had that like confirmed in several different places, and we sat down with you and you were telling us like exactly what we'd been feeling essentially. And so that was like kind of the last confirming like, okay, we should probably do this, because you're like the third person this week to tell us that we should hire an assistant and continue to move forward. But
yeah, I think there's a nugget there. Sometimes I feel like you have to bring in somebody that isn't in your circle. Obviously, having great Christian counsel and great brothers around you to help give advice, business advice, spiritual, marriage, whatever it is. But having sometimes people that don't really know a lot of the day-to-day or what's going on or the numbers, but you just came in, you saw with great faith. And then we were able to be like, wow, you don't really know much about us or our company, but you saw so much bigger, and it allowed to really open up the next level. We have amazing people in our lives and people that have been on the journey with Glory Visuals since day one. But like to have somebody like you see it from a different perspective was really helpful for me as a business owner to be like, whoa, like this is bigger than I think. And it allowed us to really solidify some of those moves that we were kind of praying on and waiting on. And it was like a really big push in the right direction.
Yeah. I had friends from around the country that doesn't even know like that we know each other, but follow you.
Sure.
And so like, because you're in Omaha and I'm in Omaha, so like, oh, these guys, right? So it's like, when you get perspective outside of even your group, right? They're going to see it from a different lens, right? So if you get around, going back to the church, if you get around evangelistic people that are all about saving the lost, or you get around pastoral people, right? Pastoral people just want to gather and want to make sure everybody's healthy and good, and you know, we're having good marriages and all those things. And the evangelists are going, this is stupid. We need to go out and get the lost right now. What are we doing at church? We need to go, right? And so those are different lenses.
Sure.
They're both right.
Yeah.
Different lenses.
Yeah, yeah.
So getting somebody to look at what you're doing outside with a different lens.
Yeah.
Even if it's wrong.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, hey, nah.
Yeah.
But at least you're getting another perspective.
Yeah,
right?
that's great.
so then we started talking about print and merch.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah, I mean, I can kind of jump in. So, yeah, I shot your wedding. How did you find me, or how did we get connected like 5 years ago?
Honestly, I have no idea. And Roberto and I talked about that since.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, but it was weird because when we first met, we sat down at a Starbucks because we went to another coffee shop and it was closed. And so like you went there and you're like, oh, it's closed. We got to go somewhere else. And so I look at Roberto, I'm like, hey, this guy's not real. He doesn't even know when this coffee shop's open. Like, this is supposedly his coffee shop and he doesn't even know when his coffee shop. So I'm like super frustrated. And we go into this. Yeah.
I don't remember, but
it was something in Measure.
Whisk and Measure.
Yep. Whisk and Measure. And
Yeah.
it was closed down at like 4 o'clock or whatever it was. But anyways.
They had weird hours.
They did. Yeah.
So we go to this Starbucks and it's packed. Like, we barely can find a place to sit. And then we started talking and I'm like, hey, like, you're from Iowa too. Do you know, like, and you're like, hey, do you know this person, this person? I'm like, yeah, I know Jesse Stees. Yeah, I know this person. Yeah, I know this person. I'm like, I went to high school with Jesse. And then we like knew a bunch of people and I was like, okay, cool. And like, I honestly don't even know how we met.
Yeah. I don't remember like our first interaction or like through DMs or like social media or like, I don't know. But yeah.
Couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, because you knew a lot of people from Iowa.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like how we knew each other, no clue.
But yeah, then you took a shot and hired me and
you did a wonderful job.
I shot your wedding photography.
Just photography,
Not even video. And I used LXC3 on everything because the color is so beautiful. Yep. So luckily I had better gear when I shot that wedding because I actually am pretty still stoked on like a lot of your photography.
Yep.
Pretty.
And it was awesome because it was foggy. And so we were on a lake and it was fogging over the lake. And like some of those shots you got, like even to like people see those like, wow, like those shots are amazing.
It was pretty. And you guys got like married in this cute little quaint, like in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know where it was.
In the middle of Fremont. There's a friend of ours owned like a 21 acre property with a lake and 2 houses. And like, I mean, they did a bunch of weddings out there and stuff like that. And she was like, hey, just take it. Do whatever you want.
It was sick. I remember it being really awesome.
It was amazing.
Yep. So yeah, then we knew each other and we kind of followed each other on social media and just kind of like kept up. I knew you were traveling, pastoring, you know, doing your thing. We had helped plant a church here in Omaha. So obviously we're in the church worlds, but never really crossed paths too much. I don't even know if like we'd seen each other, but just over the years, just kind of knew of you. And then how did your wife find how did you guys find Callie? Because Callie had also taught yoga at your guys' house a few times.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't even know these were the same people.
Right.
When you were like, oh yeah, I shot his wedding. And then I was like, oh, you're the person that Callie used to go over to their house and teach yoga classes.
So how that all worked out was kind of cool too. So Kelsey and Annie Cameron's one of our best friends.
Yep.
And so Kelsey reached out to Roberta and goes, hey, my friend Callie has a studio on like 108th and whatever it was.
Yep. Cute.
And she goes, hey, do you want to come to this? And Roberta's like, yeah. And then Roberta talked me into it. And I'm like big into heavy lifting and like going to the gym and stuff at this time. And like, I'm like, no, that's for women. You go. And She's like, no, seriously, go. So she talked me into going. And like, I walk in and I'm like, this is stupid. Don't want to do this. And then I do it. And it's like the greatest thing ever. Like I felt great coming out of it. Like, my body had never moved like that before, stretched. And it was great. COVID hits. And we find out that they shut the studio down, all that stuff. And I was like, hey, like I grabbed Roberta. I'm like, hey, this woman had a small business, doesn't have one anymore. Let's bring her in and do like a house thing. And like, let's just bless her, like bless her socks off. So she came in, we had some people come to our house and everybody just like, there was no fee, but we all like write the checks, put some zeros behind those things. And so we did. And it was great.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm dying. I'm sorry guys.
No,
really
you're
sorry.
good. You're good.
But yeah, that's how we met Callie. And then, and obviously we knew Darren. Obviously I've been following you guys on social media. So I knew that you guys were doing stuff together. And I've been watching my city grow from afar. And I looked at it through my terrible theological lens at the time. And I was kind of against it, but I watched it slowly. And my buddy came from Texas. He goes, hey, let's go to this church. I want to see what it's about. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I don't want to go. Like, I'm not about this. And I knew a bunch of people there. So like when I went there, it was like, hey, what's up? And I just got wrecked when I was there. I was like, oh Lord, I was so wrong on this. And so I reached out to you guys, old pastor, and I was like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, I know that you don't know that I was against you, but I need to ask for your forgiveness.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, and then I saw you guys there. And then this is how it came about. So in my perspective, I think any single Christian should go to my city.
Oh yeah, you brought your buddy.
Because I think that there is just an amazing hunger for God there. And I think there's a ton of Christian men and women there that are just hungry for God. So I'm like, hey, you're single, go to my city.
Yeah, there's like a wedding a month these days.
Right.
It's true. It's true.
So I took
Everyone's
my buddy.
buying houses now.
Yeah, right. So I took my buddy and I go, hey, let's go. And we went and ran into Darren. And then it was funny because my wife, Mike, my friend goes, hey, that Darren guy, he just like won't leave your side, will he? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, he just kept like asking you questions. And like everywhere we went, like Darren was. And like we just kept talking because we haven't seen each other for years, right? So it was good just trying to catch up.
I have that disease.
Yeah.
Friendly-itis.
And then like a week later, we set something up and Darren goes, when we were at my city, he's like, hey man, like let's get together soon. Let's talk. I'm like, cool. And then like in my mind, when people say that, it's like, oh, that's not going to happen. Like, or it will happen in the future or whatever.
Sure.
Like, I have so many meetings every week. It's like, meetings come and go, whatever.
Yeah.
And you text me and goes, hey man, how's this day work? And I was like, yeah, I'll make that happen. And so I came in and it was like supposed to be like an hour meeting.
Like, is this guy going to kill me or?
Right. My wife was like taking out life insurance policies on me. And but then like came in and it was supposed to be like an hour meeting and turned into like a 3-hour meeting. And talked about merch and then,
Yeah.
And then the conversation changed from we wanted to really just hire you to help us print our own merch.
Right.
We'd had some, I guess, maybe you talk about like what we wanted to do.
Yeah. Literally for like the last 5 or 6 years, like I've worked with companies that are creative and fun. And then we planted a church and then we, made merch and printed merch to promote the church or the conferences. And I was always heavily involved in that process and I liked it a lot, but I never liked it as much as if I had like full freedom of creating. I just had to stay within the brands and stuff, but I had a lot of fun doing it. And I'm not like the best designer in the world, but I have a lot of ideas. So like getting it out on paper and stuff or on the actual like in Illustrator or whatever is kind of hard for me, but I can speak it. And then if an artist or I'm collaborating, I can really come up with cool ideas. And so I was doing that like the last few years and really passionate about it. It was super fun. And we're making merch, and I designed like our youth ministries merch. And I really had so much fun doing that. And I was like, why did I like doing the youth better than I did like this conference? It's because it was more playful. It was like, it kind of looked like this, if you're watching on YouTube, like kind of smiley face vibes, just like it kind of re-sparked something in me. And I was like, man, I really want to start my own thing. What would I start? We're busy with growing our company. We don't have time. Well, maybe then I'll create one within our company or make really cool merch for us to wear.
Yeah.
And every time I would try to do something, there was always like a dead end. Like I couldn't find a great screen print place, or we would try it and it would be amazing the first time, and then the next time would be terrible. Then we would try to go print something here or there or design something here or there. And every single time I tried to like put all my weight into something, it was like I'd hit a dead end. So it felt very overwhelming to me and honestly like unrealistic or unreachable. So I just kind of gave up with even caring about it. I love fashion. I love clothing. I have always since 8th grade. And so I've always like dreamt of starting something or having something, but I just didn't know how to do it. And when I tried with everything in me and I would call places and reach out, I never seemed to find somebody that would like latch on. And then when you came along and we just like started talking about printing literally like the GV logo on some shirts, like I just wanted a place where I had a quality shirt and a quality print. Like at that point, I'd given up all hope of creating anything other than I just need a freaking shirt that can print, like screen print, that will stay on there when I wash it 4 times. And it seemed like that was impossible. I'd been on the phone with some people and some of our leaders and people that we were creating stuff for my city. And like these screen printing places were like, sorry, we can't do that. Oh, it washed off. That's normal. And I'm like, this is not a thing. And like the best shirt you have is a Comfort Colors. Like that's the best shirt I can get for $8 or $6 or $3 or whatever after print. I don't know how much it was, 8, 10, 12. But yeah, it just seemed like, and then I had a really good friend. He was in this band called For Today, and they used to tour the world and preach the gospel, and they were in the Christian metal band. Big part of my testimony, story for another day. But he started doing screen printing in this really dope spot in Ohio. And so I hit him up, and they were like printing stuff for like huge bands and like massive companies and doing really big stuff. So I'm like, whoa, this is my guy. So I hit him up, and he's like, yeah, bro, let's do it. So we did some runs through him. And honestly, everything was super solid. The only issue was the turnaround, or like we couldn't get stuff quick. And I was like, that's not a solution either. I can't wait for shipping, can't wait for something in Ohio. Like it's not practical. So again, another dead end. And so I'm like, maybe, there's something here. And we started talking with you, and you're like, oh, that's easy. I'm like, wait, there's no roadblock with you? You're not going to make up excuses like, oh, sorry, you just have to order crappy shirts and you can get Gildan heavies and deal with it. And I'm like, that sucks. So you were like, yeah, we can get anything. And, and you obviously like fashion and clothing. We've talked about that before, but you just like understand quality. You like understood my language. Like when I would share my frustrations, you're like, oh, I have easy solution. I have like 5 solutions for that. And I was like, holy crap. And then like my wheels started turning again, and like I started dreaming again and thinking bigger again. And I was like, oh my gosh, you just like blew the lid off of like the last 5 years of people like saying they just can't do stuff. So
I mean, going back, there's so much that you said in there, right? But the biggest thing is that one, there is literally, this is not a shot at the industry, but like there is literally a handful of good screen printers in America, period.
Right.
Like they're hard to find.
Right.
The second thing is that when you're saying that, like you had all these dreams and these visions in your life, right? There's dead ends everywhere. You'll never find your purpose outside of your tribe.
Sure.
When you find the people you're supposed to be with, that's when momentum happens.
Right.
You can have a vision for this big thing, but not have the right people and not go anywhere.
Totally.
So
that's a really good word right there. Write that down.
I live my life by that, because it's literally everything I've ever done. I've always had these things, but it was just when the wrong people were around, things didn't happen.
Totally.
But coming back to, the reason why that I have a solution or had a solution for every problem that you were having was because I locked myself in my room, in 2019 and was like, I'm going to do this. Worked with manufacturers all over the world, did all the things, worked with every, screen printer, worked with, everybody.
Yep.
And it was like, I knew all the problems.
Sure.
I knew who was wrong, or who couldn't do the right thing, who wasn't doing the right thing, how to do the right thing. I knew what, when, and where, and how. Because I've already did it all wrong 100 times.
Sure.
And so it was just easy once I figured out the process. And then once you figure out the process, it's like, then it's cake work.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, so we started chatting about this idea. I think it started because essentially we came to this meeting and we're like, okay, we're going to go through this guy to print our merch. And we sat down and that meeting went drastically different than I think either of us had anticipated.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I pitched you guys hard.
You did.
Because my wife is the one that was like, why don't you talk to them?
But it was like the weirdest pitch ever though, because essentially the pitch was, I'm going to dissolve the thing that I've been spending the last 2 years building and join you guys because I believe in what you're doing.
And pay you to do it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And like, so it was literally, the conversation was, we have the content, we have the media production, we can handle all of the content for advertising, website, all of that stuff. You have the manufacturer connections, you understand the industry, you can get product, you can get quality stuff, you can get what we need.
Or like literally weirdest ideas or things that I want. You're like, oh yeah, I'll look into that. Like shower slippers, like bath slippers.
Yeah, we figured it out.
You're like, I'll find a guy. And then you find a guy. I'm like, bro, I was just joking around kind of, but not really. But like, it's sick that you literally removed like the roadblock. You like made me have fun and think again. And it's just been freaking sick. So we had the conversation. We were like, hey, let's print some merch. And you're like, yeah, that's easy. But I think this thing is bigger than that. You like left us like, and then I remember Austin was like, when we left, he's like, I was like, yeah, dude, he's legit. Like he believes in our company, our talents and abilities and wants to start something with us. And, he's like, yeah, but what's in it for him? Like he doesn't get
what's the catch?
But I think it was a pivotal moment where Austin had to realize like we bring value to the table. It's super hard to like see your value. And that's what you very blatantly and called it out of us of like, do you guys not see like, hello, like what's going on here? Like, look at the building that you guys just moved into. Look at the content studio. Look at the studio in there. Like you guys are doing things and making moves and like there's value that you're bringing. And
if you guys remember the conversation, the first conversation was that, right? I want to do merch, but then we also want to have a brand that kind of goes along with this at some point.
Sure.
But like, we just don't know what that looks like. Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when we met at Amateur Coffee and we had the conversation was, well, here's your options. You have option one, you guys can do merch and then do a brand in the future, which I think is a waste of time.
Sure.
Because the time you're going to be spending on your merch, you could be spending on your brand, period.
Yeah.
It's the same process.
Sure.
Or you guys could start your brand now.
Mm-hmm.
The question is if you want me to be a part of it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth of the matter is when I was here talking about the merch, I didn't do that for me.
Yeah.
Because I even told you guys.
Yeah.
You guys can do this without me.
Yeah.
You guys don't need me.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me, I'm here. But if you like, I don't need anything.
Yeah.
Because I believe in the kingdom. And this is crazy because I can't tell you how many brands I'm helping. Even right now, I'm helping brands.
Totally.
In Omaha, build brands. And outside of Omaha.
Yeah.
And I'm getting paid $0 because I believe in giving everything that I have for free.
Yeah.
It'll always come back.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so there was nothing in me that needed or wanted anything in return. I just knew with where my brand was, there were some major roadblocks, and it was content. Mm-hmm. I had the product, I had everything. It was good. Like, we did really, really good for a year and a half. Made good money, but it was like if the content would have been there, it would have went in so many different directions.
Sure.
But then again, there was something else that was bothering me was the vision that I had in the beginning. That brand did not become that. That brand went very Christian, very in-your-face Christian, but it was very just like very Christianese.
Yeah.
And the whole point of the brand that I had and that God gave me the vision for was very not Christian.
Yeah.
But Christian.
Yeah, totally.
So that way somebody could wear it that wasn't Christian, not even knowing that it was Christian.
Yeah, 100%.
And then all of a sudden it dawns on them one day. That was the whole point of the brand.
Yeah.
Or the vision of the brand. And so talking with you guys, it was like, okay, they have the one thing. And it wasn't even marketing. It was just social media content, period. They have the one thing. I have everything else. Mm-hmm. If they could just do this one thing for me, we could take this thing through the roof.
Yeah.
What I didn't know though was that Darren has eyes for design like I've never seen before. Like you can look at something like, nope. Like it's not even, it's black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, like let me take a step back and just let you take that. I want to see where it goes.
Yeah.
And then Austin's like, I kill it at social media. I kill it at marketing. I kill it at content. And I'm like, okay, like, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
And just so like, as I took steps back, which is not my normal thing. Normally I'm in charge of everything and delegating whatever. Mm-hmm. I take a step back and it was like, everything I told you on that first day started to come alive in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
Everything that I believed started to actually manifest in front of me. Mm-hmm. And it was like,
sick.
It was humbling. I'd go home and tell Roberta, I'm like, I'm seeing what I said.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah.
Like, I'm literally seeing it come alive. And it's been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So cool. Yeah, it's fun. It's sick. It's like all the pieces kind of came together and like we all have a specific role. If you haven't noticed yet, we clearly are talking about a clothing line, a company that we had started together. And it really was birthed out of like all of our strengths and discovering some of them. And some of them you had to pull out of me or Austin or vice versa. Or you just said like you had to humbly like step back and you're like crushing things behind the scenes. Like everything was like clicking and working. And I'm like, this feels too good to be true. Like why, like it seemed like at the point that I was dreaming about starting something someday, it seemed like it would have been years before I saw like a physical thing and like put it on and then like, this is ours, Yeah. But it was like the matter of few months.
3 months.
I mean, like we literally have everything except for our shoelaces. Like,
yeah. And I mean,
and that was like, whatever, but
there's one other piece that we're missing.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
When you both go, hey, if we're going to like the day one, if we're going to do this, like we haven't even signed contracts yet. You go, hey, if we're going to do this, we need to hire this designer.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, yeah, man, like whatever you think. Yep, I'm with it. And in the back of my head was going, oh no. I don't know who this person is. I don't know how good she is. I don't know anything about her.
The best designer literally in the
world. And it was just like both of you guys like, no, she's the best. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. And I'm like, I'm all about it. In the back of my head, I'm going, no. And then once again, God's like, you have to trust.
Yeah.
And so I pulled way back. And then it was like, she does the brand guide for us. And I was like, yeah, some of the stuff is good. And the rest of it, I was like, oh, this is trash. Like, I'm not about this.
Yeah.
This is not me. This is not what I envisioned. And then when she delivered the final product, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, she's amazing. Like, took everything in. And then, like, when she sent the designs over, and it was just like, it humbled me so much.
I think we were sitting in an airport, and we, like, teared up when we saw that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were, like, chilling, waiting to get on our plane, and we got the final brand guide, and we were like, this is real.
Oh, man, it was amazing. Like, I was so impressed. And even with her integrity, with, like, her just, like, very, very impressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when it comes to anything in the clothing brand fashion world, like, no offense, but it takes a lot to impress me in that, in that fashion.
For sure.
But it was like her turnaround time, her perfection, like her excellence, the whole thing was just amazing.
Yeah.
Like very, very
Shout
impressed.
out Erin.
Tate Creative.
She's the best.
She is amazing. The best. Erin's awesome too.
So
Nye. I meant to say Nye.
Nye.
Nye is cute.
Nye
is cute.
I just felt like I had to say it since you guys
said
Nye. This is for you, Nye.
Nye.
Only for you.
Nye.
This episode's sponsored by Nye.
Nye.
So after all of this discussion and just a lot of prayer and multiple meetings, a lot of independent discussion, a lot of discussion together.
And our wives said yes.
And yes.
Yeah, that's huge.
So let's pause on that.
Let's pause there.
all three of our wives were 100% on board for this.
Yeah.
Which is almost like, it's just a small step below like God showing up at your bed.
No.
Telling you.
That is God showing up.
That's
okay. All right. It's at the same level. It's basically God is saying, you should do this.
100%.
So got the wives not only consent, but they were all really pumped about it.
Yeah.
When we shared the vision. And so we are excited to announce a new luxury streetwear brand.
There you go.
Called Glory Gang.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Glory Gang.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we did it.
We did it.
Let's go.
So yeah, Glory Gang, which
It's here.
We've been kind of addressing people on YouTube and stuff like that as Glory Gang. I don't even remember why or where that started.
Yeah, I mean, everybody on YouTube. So we started doing YouTube like last year, kind of being serious about it. And we really enjoyed it. We did this podcast and we're like, what's up, people that are watching? What's up, guys? We said, what's up, guys? And like what's up, guys? What's up, guys? Like Peter McKinnon would do, or like everyone has said everything. And so now like there's guys that are gamers or streamers or people that rip Pokemon packs or people that are just like vloggers. They have some type of community. They address their community. And so we started saying like, hey gang. Well, that's dumb. Hey, Glory Gang. Hey, that kind of actually hits. So we started calling our viewers.
Slaps.
That kind of slaps.
Yeah,
do people still say that?
Probably not. That's probably like a boomer term now.
Yeah.
I thought it was candy.
It's
Yeah, you've been saying candy.
Watching too much Jimmy Darts.
But the thing is, we wanted to call our viewers something, and so Glory Gang kind of hit. And then we were talking to Andrew, and we were talking about a name, and I don't know why we landed on it or how.
We landed on just for branding.
Yeah, so one of the things that I remember Andrew saying was like, you guys don't realize how big your circle of influence really is.
Huge.
Which I still that's just a really hard thing for me to grasp. But
yeah,
the reality is we did like a $3,000 run of merch a couple of years ago. And that's actually what we were just wanting to redo.
Yeah.
Because we sold out of it within like a month or two, just selling it from the backs of our cars. So when we first met with Andrew, he was like, wait, you guys sold out of a run of merch just to your friends and family, like out of the back of your car? He's like, okay, legitimate. You guys need to start a clothing brand because people will buy it, obviously.
The funny part about it was in the back of my car so that it was always like around and I would just pop my trunk and we would just have our friends stop by, and we'd actually had a line once of like 3 or 4 people come in. It was so ridiculous.
So I remember you saying something along the lines of like, do you know how many streetwear brands or apparel companies out there would like kill to sell out of their first run of merch? And that was kind of where it hit me, brand. I think, where of like, you're right. Like, that's pretty sweet. And if we actually started something that was cool and creative and we put great marketing behind it, why wouldn't it sell?
Like, think about it. Couple hundred shirts, 100 hoodies and some hats, and you guys sold out in a couple months. Like, if brands did that in the beginning, like, brands would blow up really quickly. And so, like, just from a branding standpoint, most streetwear brands have pretty good concept, right? And most people think it's the design that, sells. To a degree, that's true. But it's community that sells. It's wanting to be a part of something, and you guys already had that.
Yeah.
And you have it not just here in Omaha, you have it outside of that too. And so, like, it would just be, from a branding standpoint, like, you guys are, your strongest point probably isn't even your videos or your content. It's probably your branding that's really got you indoors, that then they see your content, they see your video, they see your production. They're like, this is even better. But the branding gets them inside the door. And so it's like, it would have been unwise of us to go in any other direction.
Sure.
Yeah. So Glory Gang is really the encapsulation of all 3 of our personalities and all of it, I feel like.
The whole purpose of really starting Glory Gang was to start something that wasn't just for a certain type of person. And I feel like a lot of streetwear or clothing companies would say that, like, everybody should be able to wear this. And there's like 100 million companies right now doing like the small minimalist, like copying essentials all day long. Even putting essentials in your name right now is like really hot. And I'd just rather buy essentials and that will be my minimal streetwear like vibes, like muted, monochromatic like vibe. But yeah, outside of that, I'm like, we don't need another one of those. Like, you can get the PacSun drop. You can't afford it at resale. Like, buy a $70 shirt when it drops. which the last drop, they had plenty left over. So you can actually get it fairly easily.
They're still on clearance right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's tons of stuff. So however, I just didn't really care to jump on that train, although I do like the minimal, plain, clean look.
Yep.
And graphic tees like are out or now they're back in if they're vintage. It's hard to keep up. I don't really care. But the reason why I say all this is we wanted to start something that like was going to be obviously something we all wanted to wear. That's the only reason I ever cared to start something is I just really like clothes and I want to wear stuff that is cool. And I don't care if, people don't like it. I've always been like that. I wear stuff that's different and out there sometimes and I just enjoy it. But I want people to see our brand and feel that they can just wear it, whatever type of walks of life you come from. And so Austin's like a big gamer nerd. Like he's like my IT guy. He's like the tech guy, like knows everything about all the tech decks. No, that's me. But just like tech stuff. And like that is a very huge market of people. And when you're streaming and gaming and you play with your wife all the time and pwn noobs and Fortnite.
That's right.
And so like, that's really cool. And you kind of like encapsulate that side of like gaming and streaming, which is like esports is huge. And there's like a whole world of people that are there to reach and be a part of the community. And then you have Andrew that's like speaker, pastor, like amazing dad and husband and like business owner and operator. And there's like a whole world of things that you crush at doing.
And
sneakerhead like knows so much about clothing. Like you've taught me so much just in the short period of like just talking fabrics and freaking spin and feel and cotton and blends.
All the
things. But like you have such a unique like reach of different types of people. And then there's me. I'm just like a dude that is a guy.
I think you're the visionary.
Yeah.
I think you're the one that sees the design, sees where it goes. I think you see the demographic. I think you're also a voice in that demographic. Because like, I really think that you see what needs to be done. And like we really, one of our key things that we really landed on with the brand was we're here to disrupt the industry.
Yeah.
And if that's disrupt esports, disrupt Christian clothing, disrupt just clothing and luxury clothing in general, like that's the whole point, is just to disrupt. And like you took that idea and you ran with it.
Yeah.
And like I would have never in a million years came up with the designs that we had. And it's like there's nothing on the market like it.
Yeah.
There is nothing on the market like it.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because
I love that so much. It's like my favorite part.
And it's so cool because going back to esports, like nobody is targeting that demographic.
Right.
But we're not targeting that demographic either. We have the option that we're going after the sneakerhead. We're going after, the pastor, the worship leader. We're going after the skateboarder. We're going after musician. We're going after the stay-at-home mom. We're going after everybody.
Yeah.
And in Austin, a little joke that Austin has is, it's not for everybody, but it's for everybody.
Yeah, it's trademarked that bad boy.
And so
it's not for everyone, but it's for you.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, but it's for you.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's where it is.
But it's like, it's so true because like it's bold, it's in your face, it's disruptive. But at the end of the day, like, it is legit. It is like the most legit streetwear brand like out there. Like when you wear that thing, people are even going to love it or hate it, and both are good. And it's like people are going to ask questions.
Oh, for sure.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Like ask me every question. Like please.
Yeah.
Like I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
And it's like people that were really loyal with my other brand are seeing some of the content we've been putting on Instagram, and they're all in. They're like, when's the drop? When can I buy? Can I buy? And like they're already all about it.
Yeah.
And it's so different from what I was at before.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, and even all the people that, and your guys' network that's grabbing onto this thing, it's like, I got a buddy that is in a different part of the country, huge sneakerhead, huge just fashion guy. And he's like, dude, I don't even see what you guys are doing yet, because it's like we're not showing anything off.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't even care what it looks like. I'm buying this because it's so legit. And he hasn't even seen the product yet.
Yeah.
Like we haven't even talked about what we're actually coming out with.
Right.
Like we have socks. We have shirts.
Yeah, we do.
We have hats.
Yeah, we do.
We have laces coming.
Yeah, we do.
We got stickers.
Yeah,
like,
we do.
We have, I mean, we are even talking now in the future of like, what's the next thing we're going to come out with? What's the next drop? What's going to be the next products that we're going to bring?
Manufacturing.
And we are private label right now, but the next drop from there on, we are 100% manufactured streetwear brand. Like we're in the middle.
Cussed on the podcast.
We are in the middle of trademarking right now.
Yeah, we are.
So don't steal it before we get it.
It's time stamped, so we're good.
Nice.
So like,
yeah, you thought you had us, didn't you?
So like, we're in the middle of trademarking.
Yeah, it's sick.
We're LLC'd. We are. I mean, we
fish.
We are as legit could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, this is a dream.
Yeah.
And it's coming
very soon.
And it's like, I mean, I was up till almost 2:00 in the morning last night, and I'm up every night dreaming about this, working on the website, working on our Shopify, working on all the things. Like,
yep,
I'm looking at analytics from even what we posted. Like, it's funny. Like, I've been in different countries preaching on stages in front of thousands of people and hundreds of people, and I've seen God do the most craziest things that people that probably watching this probably wouldn't even believe and understand. But 100%. I've seen it with my own two eyes.
Yep.
But I've never felt more like I was created for something than what we're doing right now. Like that's not me blowing smoke. That's 100% honest. And it's crazy because there's so much grace at my house because of it. And like, my wife and I and my family went through a really tough time about 2 months ago. And it was funny because both you guys were like, hey, take some time, like do whatever. And I was like, hey, no. Like, I need to push hard right now. Now's not the time to push back. Like, I need to push.
Yeah.
And it was funny because my wife was like, yeah, you need to do that. And because of that,
wow,
it was like the more that I pushed in, the actually more at rest I was.
Wow.
And so it was because, like, and I was telling my friend last night, I was on the phone with him, and I was like, you know, God always, like, the whole point of the gospel is to actually for us to be at rest. The Sabbath is not a day, but a person. And we're actually supposed to be at rest, just like he's at rest. And I'm like, and he's like, so what do you mean we're not supposed to work? I'm like, no, that's what I'm saying. I said, when I'm in my purpose, I actually don't need, like, there's rest in my purpose. So I actually don't need to stop.
Wow.
I don't need to take a break. I don't take a vacation.
Wow.
And he was like, wow, no, you're right. And I'm like, when you're doing what you're called to do, when you're doing what you're called to do, that's what happens. And so,
that's so sick.
like, the groove that we're in right now,
yeah,
it's so efficient.
Yeah.
Like, if people actually understood the amount of time that we spent to build this brand, they'd be like, no way. You guys spent way more time on this. Like, nope, not really.
Yeah.
It was like probably like what, maybe 10 just good, efficient, few hour meetings.
I think less than that.
Maybe less.
Don't you think, Austin? I mean,
we spent, so we started in this room, and we had every meeting in this room essentially, and it slowly was getting done because we met in here before we even had carpet.
Yep.
And
oh yeah, we set for the first time.
There was like chunks in the wall already out. Like,
yeah, none of this was done.
Yeah, none of this was done. And so every time it was funny, we finally got this table. We're like, yo, we get a table at our meeting. But yeah, that's bizarre.
But it's just like,
it's just God.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, you'll never be in your purpose outside of your tribe.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that, you know, that could be your church, that could be your friends, that could be whatever. But it's like, if I would tell my friends what we're doing and why we're doing it, half of them wouldn't even understand.
Totally.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because inside my tribe for this, like, that's all that matters. And not that they don't support me, because they do. I have the greatest support group ever. But it's like, inside of this tribe, I have absolute trust in. Because I know you guys' character. I know where we're going. I know what we want to do.
Yeah.
And like we said before, just touch on it again. Like, when my wife says yes, she's never wrong.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
and I've went against my wife, being like, she's like, no, I don't think you should do this. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do this. This is good. And then it just goes down the drain.
Sure.
And she's like, well, I kind of told you, I'm like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, we have awesome wives.
Yeah, so it's just like,
yeah, we do.
I listen to my wife now. When my wife's like, no, it's no.
I don't want to listen to that.
Yeah, me neither.
But I do have there's such a piece that comes with it. Like, babe, I'm really feeling this. She's like, that's dumb. That's not a good idea.
Yep.
You shouldn't do that. Or that's going to burn you out. Or that's going to make you tired. Or I'm trying to protect you. Like, it's a different shift of like, no, that's stupid.
Yep.
It's actually like,
Protection.
no, I just care about you and I understand you. And I've grown in that over the years. I'll be married 4 years tomorrow. And like,
Come on.
literally just so value
Yep.
the perspective that my wife has for my company, for my businesses I'm starting, like my life. And so it's so cool that we get to be blessed with having that in our lives because they rock.
Yeah, they do.
So where do we go from here?
I think the best place is to go to our Instagram, which is at glorygang with 4
underscores
Is that what after it?
Yeah.
And our profile picture is just like a black scribble.
Yep.
And so go on there, follow us. You'll see all the drops. You'll see all the information behind the scenes. You'll see all the stuff there. Our website is www.glorygang.shop.
There you have it.
You can shop Glory Gang there.
And you can actually pre-order all of the merch.
Can you? Ooh, so there you go. You guys are getting an inside look right now because no one else can pre-order right now.
So the only people that listen to this will know because we're not,
Yep.
That's crazy.
So if you're watching the podcast,
you can buy Glory Gang.
You can buy Glory Gang just a couple days before everyone else to make sure it doesn't sell out.
That's a treat for you.
There you go.
And if you sign up for our email list, you get 10% off.
Sick.
Come on, 10% off.
That's like tax plus a little bit.
Come on.
Let's go.
Do it. www.glorygang.shop. That's all we have for you for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining with us as we really just launch this brand and put ourselves out there into the world. Thank you guys for all of your support along the way, all the way back to our very first ever merch line.
Yep.
Can't wait for you guys to see the products. Head over to the website if you want to pre-order anything right now. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Click the bell for notifications.
Yeah, that one. Leave a comment down below.
Yeah.
Give a thumbs up.
Give a thumbs up. And I think that's all of them.
That's it.
We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.